Hey guys, it's Albert coming at you with my review of The Shallows, the new movie starring Blake Lively and, more importantly, a giant shark that chases Blake Lively. Now, for a little context, you need to know that I love shark movies. It doesn't have to be good shark movies. In fact, there aren't very many of those. There's like Jaws and arguably Deep Blue Sea, and that's about it. And now this movie is a good shark movie. But my opinion's biased because I will watch Sharknado, I will watch the Mega Shark movies over and over and over again. And so I am immune to the sharkness. If you are the kind of person that saw this movie and saw the trailer and said, I don't want to see her get chased around by a shark, I don't know that the movie's going to change your mind. But if you like the trailer, like I love the trailer, I think you're going to really dig this film. And one of the things that I'm going to say right off the bat that struck me as an interesting comparison is this movie really reminds me of Gravity, which seems like a weird thing to say because they're absolutely not anywhere close to the same setting, right? You have outer space, you have shark, you have the ocean, completely removed from each other in those ideas. But the concept and the structure of how this is put together, of the stress of being in an environment that's super hostile, of things getting worse and worse and worse, and trying to solve the problems, and new problems popping up, that really felt like the same kind of narrative. And it's not as good as Gravity, okay? The story isn't as good as Gravity, and Blake Lively isn't as good an actor as Sandra Bullock, but it's pretty good. It's like, it's worth being compared in that same sort of like, you're really trying for that, but not getting there. The shark itself was used so beautifully because, Jaws set the gold standard for shark movies, and people have been referencing how that played out for, 50 years now? It hasn't been 50 years. It's been a long time. It's been a really long time since Jaws. People have been talking about how the spare and minimal use of the shark really heightened the tension. And in a movie like this, you know that they have CG. They have a decent budget behind it. They could show the shark all the time. And there are some really impressive shots of the shark. But they keep it on Blake Lively's character almost exclusively. There is even a point where there's like a gruesome death happening. The shark is eating someone alive, and you hear it happen, and they stay on her face and the horror that she's feeling and the terror as she's watching a person get eaten alive. And that really makes the movie a lot more grounded, because when you have your shark as the hero of the movie, you lose any kind of sense of fear. And that's okay. Again, I love Mega Shark. I love to see, he's going to sink a battleship now and not really care about the human casualties, because that's not what you want to do in those movies. But if you want to have a shark movie be taken seriously, the star of the movie can't be the shark. The star of the movie needs to be the human character, and to be on her for these tense moments, and to see the overwhelming sort of terror as she has mounting problems over and over and over again that aren't all directly related to the shark. She's stranded on this island because the shark's there, but it's not like the shark is constantly heaving itself up onto the island and trying to bite her and she has to fight it off. It's out there somewhere. It's out there. That threat is there. They establish it, and then they let it play out and focus in on her and her survival story and how horrified and horrifying that would be, to the point where she wakes up in the middle of the night and she's cold. And there's like a 2 or 3 minute sequence where you're just like, oh my gosh, hypothermia. Of course. I don't know exactly what the temperatures are in Mexico where she's at, but it gets cold, she's wet, and she has to take her neoprene jacket off of the wound that it's on and refashion it. And the bleeding is a whole problem throughout the whole movie. It was just, I thought, really brilliantly done with the shark use until the end. And I won't give any specifics away for the end, but they do sort of pay it off. They do give you more shark stuff at the end, to the point where by the time it was done, I felt like they'd gone a little too far. The movie is very grounded and very believable, although not scientific. Okay, if you're one of those people that said, I don't think a shark would chase somebody around a rock. You know what? You're probably right. Okay. Literally speaking, in the actual physical world, you're probably right. But if you're willing to put that aside and say, I will accept that this is a special shark or this is a movie shark, then you can enjoy this movie. If you're a stickler for exact science, you probably are going to be sitting there with your arms folded saying, that's not how sharks work. And you'd be right, and you'd also be bored. Because it's a movie and it's a story, but for the context of this story, for this thing to be a threat, you need to have it there. It needs to stick around. It doesn't have a great, compelling reason to stick around. You kind of get a hint of, it doesn't like people, except for to eat them, and then it really likes them. But beyond that, if you're going to nitpick that type of action in the movie, that might not be what you would want to see. The acting in the movie was decent. I thought that Blake Lively did a fairly believable job, and there were many, many moments where I was very much on board with her. Again, comparing this to Gravity, she's not as good as Sandra Bullock is in that movie, but she's really good, even so. And I felt like that she did not do anything to ruin the movie, and many, many moments were very well sold by her. Heightened by her sense of terror. You really did feel what she was feeling through a lot of the movie. Other than them going a little bit over the top with the final climactic moments, my biggest problem with the movie is a weird thing to say, but there was one scene that I felt like didn't need to be there. There was a character, she's stranded on this rock, but she's within sight of the beach, which is just a whole, like, I love that she's isolated, but not like she can see help within her reach. And at several points she calls out to people and they don't come back, or, they don't hear her, or they think she's waving. And there's one point in the movie where she's spent the night on this rock. She wakes up and she looks out to the shore and she sees that there's this guy who's passed out drunk on the shore. And he's the only one there. They don't give an explanation for how he got there or exactly how far this beach is from civilization, but it seems like that there are some people from the area that live kind of close by. And she calls out to him, and he wakes up. And I won't give any too specific details, but there's the dynamic of she really needs him to help her, and he's not helping her. And she plays it really well, where you see that, like, increasing frustration and terror, and like, this guy is not gonna do anything to help me. But from an audience member's perspective, I'm sitting here watching this idiot drunk bumble around and like wander into the water like a moron, and it was funny, and I don't think it was meant to be funny. The tone there really clashed, because I was laughing at this guy being an idiot when I wasn't supposed to be laughing. And because that scene didn't feel like it served any purpose, it confuses me that they left it in the movie. So I would have cut it if I was making the decisions, because it wouldn't remove anything from the movie, and I maybe would have found a way to do the ending in a little bit more of a subdued fashion. But other than that, I thoroughly enjoyed this movie. It was beautifully made. They really, at the beginning, it's almost a surf movie for about 5 minutes. They have some great shots of surfing and like under the water and above the water, and they set that tone of how big the ocean is and how terrifying the waves are and how big this shark is. You see even the first, like, before you have any hint of the shark, they're showing you with the cinematography where, like, you see her hands just go into the water as she's paddling out with her surfboard. And that really works. That stuff all builds up and really pays off, and it has great long moments of tension that pay off in, big giant kills and jump scares and things that work within the context of the movie rather than just being gratuitous and over the top. Again, until the end. If I had to give this a score, I'd say I'd give it a B, because while I didn't think it was a perfect movie, I really liked it a lot. And if you can suspend your disbelief about how dangerous this shark can be and how unrelenting it can be to come after her like this for the whole movie, if you can suspend your disbelief for that, I think you can get a real solid amount of enjoyment out of The Shallows. Thanks for watching, guys. I'm Albert Berg. We'll see you next time.
And there! Pull the lever! Oh my god.
Oh, this is so much fun.
What in the
This
hell?
is so
Pull the lever! We just walked up to the lever! Oh my god!
You kind of flooded your fort there, Joe. What's going on?